It's another week and another brand new episode here on the Granny Penny Podcast. I'm your host, RubyLynne. If you'd like to follow me, you can go to rubylynne.info, I-N-F-O, where it's all things Ruby. Before you go much further, make sure you hit that subscribe and the bell so you don't miss an episode. This week's guest has faced more challenges than anyone I believe I know in the adult industry. She is one of the strongest women. She is coming out on top, and I can't wait for her to share her story. So help me welcome Christy Love. Christy, welcome to the Granny Penny Podcast. I'm so excited to have you on.
Yes, I'm excited to be here too. Thank you.
You and I both are just coming off of 2 weeks of expos, fan-facing events, and of course, my voice still hasn't returned 100%.
Oh no. Yeah, you know what? Let me tell you, when I first did my first and second AVN and XBiz, I got sick so bad. I was wiped out for 2 weeks. I started doing research and I found out shaking hands is a very thing that gets you sick.
Yep.
And so I started giving hugs to fans. And ever since, I'm like, okay, don't shake my hand, just give me a hug. I've never been sick after an event.
That's amazing. This is my first time that I literally didn't come home between events. So, yeah, it was wild, but super fun.
Yes.
So, what was the highlight of your 2 weeks? Can you think of one or two things that you loved?
Yeah, I would definitely say meeting all the fans. I think that's always a big highlight just because you have them support you all the time online, either through OnlyFans or if you're a webcam model. And then you finally be like, oh my God, there you are, big dick 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Yes. And so, how many AVNs and X3s have you attended?
Oh my gosh, maybe 10. I lost count. It's been like every year that I've been in.
Wow. So you have been in the business. I'm just gonna move right ahead. That leads us into my next question.
Oh,
So,
yes.
how long have you been in the business and how has that career kind of developed?
Yes, I have been in the adult business for probably about 13 years. I started as a webcam model, and I eventually, I think like 4 years down the road, I said, you know what? I think I want to jump my career to the next level, go straight to porn because doing solo on webcamming can be somewhat, kind of boring. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I love to play with myself, but there's something a little bit more when you can play with someone else.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I know what you're talking about. I started my career as a webcam couple. And then when I retired corporate to do it full time, I'm like, I don't have anybody to like volley to fill up all that dead space, dead time, right?
Yes, yeah.
And so, how you were about 4 years in, and you took the jump to collaborations. Did you do pro studio work, or were you mostly at like the OnlyFans level?
Yeah, no, actually, when I was in, OnlyFans wasn't even out yet. Uh, yeah. So, pretty much, when I got in, I was like, man, I love being in this industry. I was doing pretty well as a webcam model. And I was like telling my husband, I was like, what do you think about me going into actual porn? I was like, everyone already knew I was a webcam model, and there's a whole crazy story about that. But well, just to shorten it up, I was trying to hide from my whole entire family. That I was webcamming because my background is my dad's a pastor. I come from a very conservative Christian background. My mom's Korean. And if you know anything about the Asian culture, you know you don't mess with the Korean mother.
I have heard that. I have heard that.
And so I have the typical Korean mother who is very like Christian, prayer warrior. I love my mom to death, but sometimes if you're in need of survival, you got to do what you got to do. And so as I was doing pretty well as a webcam model, I was like, you know what? I'm enjoying what I'm doing. This is so much fun. I mean, we're making a living over this. I was like, what about getting into porn? And at first my husband's like, he's not the jealous type, but he just doesn't want like family to, he's a little hesitant about what family thinks or anything. And I just, kept egging it on. What do you think? What do you think? And he's like, I support whatever decision you want, and I was like, I'm in. I was like, thanks for
Awesome.
the support.
That's amazing. What was the first studio you shot for?
It was Net Video Girls. The thing is, I was on Craigslist and I was like, okay, how am I gonna find? I didn't know how to get into porn, right? So I was like, let me just give it a try. And back in the day, Craigslist promoted all that stuff, and I all these things like amateur porn. I saw all this, and I landed one that said it was pro. And I would definitely say this is not the safest way to go into porn. But at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. So I went in and applied, and luckily, by the by the grace of God, I was safe. It was a real company. Everyone was legit. And I don't know if you've ever shot for Net Video Girls.
I have not. Are they still around?
I think they moved to Florida is last what I heard.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
writing this down. I'm going to look it up.
Oh, yeah. So their thing is that they take brand new people who have never been into porn, and that's a lot of people's launching pads. And agents actually book their girls' first scene with Net Video Girls. Yeah,
That
so it's a
sounds a lot like Score. Score loves to get people before they do anything.
yeah, yeah. They're also compared to Casting Couch. I don't know if you've heard of Casting Couch, but yeah, they're like brand new girls get you launched.
I
Yeah.
love that. So and your first scene was boy girl, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
girl, I dove right into it.
And were you and your husband swingers or in an open marriage before that, or was this really shocking to him?
No, we've had a pretty much open relationship. Yeah, I mean, we downright we had an open relationship. Yeah, he had his thing, he had his fun. I did my thing. It was a mutual thing. But by the end of the day, we love each other and we make each other the priority. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also live, and we talked about this when we first met here recently, but yeah, I just, it's a great way to weed out jealous people in your life.
Absolutely.
That's what I did. I kept picking the wrong men. And so, finally 19 years ago, I'm like, well, this will weed them out or not. How do you feel about a threesome?
I love that.
A very unique story, because you touched on it, that you came from a very religious family
Yeah.
and you yourself are a pastor, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And still practicing. So tell us a little about that environment
Yeah.
and that life.
Absolutely. So, my husband and I, we met at Bible college, and he had this vision to move to San Diego to plant a church. And when I met him, I was like, you know what? I'm hopping onto this vision. I feel like this is where I need to be. And later on, we just started dating and we decided to get married. After we graduated from our college, we went straight to San Diego to plant a church. Um, Yeah, and that is actually, church planning, you don't get paid a lot of money. All those ministers, they can probably relate, for every church planner. So here we are, we're trying to plant this church. It takes a lot of funds. Yeah, it's just so much money. So here we are on Craigslist. We're both looking for jobs. We're trying to hustle. And that's actually where I landed an ad that said, work at home, make good money. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. Actually how I landed in the adult industry as a webcam model. So that's one of the reasons why I had to be very, very hush hush. I was running a church. We're church planning at the time, probably about 20, 30 people. We were having Bible study in our living room. And I was
Cam studio.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, okay, babe, you're running the Bible study. I'm in the back closet. I'm webcamming. This is how we're doing it. And it was so funny. This one time, someone was like, "Oh, I hear some noises in the back. What's going on?" Right? Because I'm like, I'm doing my thing. And when you do
Yeah.
your, you can say, oh God, yes, oh God." They're like, "What's going on?" My husband's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. She's just praying back there."
Oh my gosh,
So,
that's so
so
funny.
yeah, this was happening simultaneously. So my husband, but yeah, that's what was happening. We were trying to pay for the bills. And it's difficult running a nonprofit, running a church, and trying to survive at the same time. People always say, "Oh, you got into the adult industry because you hated God or you turned against God." And my story is so different in the fact that I never stopped loving who Jesus is. I just We just needed a place of survival, and survival, um, I could apply to a grocery store or a secretary job. I could do any of those, but I would have to apply. I have to do interviews. I mean, we were so broke at that moment. Both of our parents were helping our rent. Our parents were helping buy groceries. I was so stressed to the max that I had the worst case of eczema. Like I thought I had leprosy all over my body because it was so bad. And I didn't know what to do. And it's like, God, I have to trust you in this moment, but I also need to survive. And seeing that ad saying I could just apply now and work in an hour, and I needed money like now,
Yeah.
I said, apply. And, I get a lot of hate for that. But I always say, you know what, I just had to do what I had to do at the moment to survive. And that was a thing that could get me instant money at the time. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Hey,
So that's how I got into ministry and adult at the same time.
mainstream religion, I wasn't raised religious or anything like that, but in general, mainstream religion is against multiple partners. I feel it advocates, one marriage, one partner, that kind of thing. And so, how do you wrestle with, your faith, this life,
Mhm.
and what mainstream religion, is preaching, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely would say we're all, I guess for Christianity, they're very heavy, like, no, this is what the Bible says. And I, I don't say it's okay to sin. I say we're all working out our own salvation. And I get a lot of people saying um, like you're just twisting the Bible, or you're just trying to do things, or if you really wanted to quit, you would quit. But I think working out your own salvation, working out, meaning working on yourself, takes time. Someone who has an addiction to, we'll just say, caffeine, okay, something simple that people don't see as an extreme, that takes time to wean off. Someone who has an addiction to, I don't know, like cigarettes, or my addiction is lip gloss. I love putting lip gloss on. Yes. I think it's like first coming, okay, you understand what your issue is and you're working out your salvation. You're working out improving yourself, and it takes time. And I feel like when people, so in response, how do I respond to other Christians who mock me for that, or respond? I say, you know what? We're all working out our salvation, and they're like, well, you're not trying. Well, I'm like, well, when's the last time you hit the gym and you're 100 pounds overweight and you've been like that for like 50 years of your life? You're working out your salvation, because sin also says gluttony is also a sin in the Bible. I hate to break it down and go low, but that's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Um, and so one of the things I did want to chat about today, and I know that you have taken a lot of hate online for, is
Mhm.
that a few years ago, you and your husband had a devastating situation where he was accused and convicted of assault.
Mhm.
And I know it's probably a very delicate subject, but when the charges against your husband were made public, what was the first thing that went through your mind? Not as a wife, but as a woman.
Mm. You know, here's the thing. When my husband and I got together, we kind of just told each other all our ugliness before we got married. And so, was it a shock for it to come back again? Yeah, it was. To me, absolutely. But did I have any anger or resentment towards him? No, I already chose to forgive him. And for anyone who has came after me and said, "Oh my God, why are you still with such a horrible man?" And um, like, you all these questions and all these attacks, and I'm like, you know what he did when he was 13, 14, 15 years old is not who he is as an adult. He's never committed a felony. He's changed his life. He has a huge heart to help people. So why should I hold something that against him, something that he already did? And we've already talked about it.
Mm.
So it was
Okay.
like, it wasn't really like, I mean, it was a shock in the fact that it got brought up again 20 years later. Like, whoa, I thought this was all over with. Um, but for my sake, it's like it was easy to forgive. It was easy to move on. When it came to the attacks of others, I just feel like, was it painful? Yeah. Let me tell you, when it came out, I lost all my friends. All my friends left. Everyone turned against me. I had so much hate on social media. I still get hate, but so at first I closed for the first year after my husband went in, I kind of closed myself in for a year. I was a hermit.
Mhm.
And my
Yeah.
husband was like, you need to go out. This is not healthy. I was like,
Right.
yeah. So I was like, okay, fine. It was so difficult even to go out. But the more I confronted like the attacks, the more I confronted people, those words, the easier it got. And I said, you can choose to hate, and that hate takes away your peace. But if you choose forgiveness, that keeps your joy and peace. So I said, I want to choose to forgive, and I want to live in peace and joy. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't imagine how you felt in that stress of that coming public. Did you lose your family over that?
I was so grateful. We lost, we, my side of the family, like my parents, they chose to forgive him, which I was a little nervous about, especially my mom, because she's very hard on me, and it does not handle me being in my industry very well. Um, so I was very hesitant in telling my parents. Like, I knew my dad is so forgiving. He's so loving. So I wasn't scared to let my dad know, because I just know his personality. But my mom, I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna, I was scared what she was going to think, but luckily she was like, you know what, I choose forgiveness. And she's confident that who he was as a 13, 14-year-old is not who he is today. So, yeah.
I don't think any of us are. Our brains weren't even functioning at 13 and 14.
Yeah, yeah. But he did lose some of his family. But, it is what it is. And we're just hoping for things to turn around. Yeah.
So when your mom, I want to circle back just a little bit because I forgot to ask this earlier, but I want to compare when your mom, I guess I'll say mom because you said dad's pretty easygoing, found out that you were doing webcam and porn. Did she reject you at that point in your life?
Yeah, yeah. As a
Okay.
webcam model. Yeah.
Okay.
She um she took it so hard she had a heart attack. um yeah, yeah. I mean, she did not deal well with it. Yeah, so it was really difficult for my mom. She was to the point where we fought for the whole 10 years. Like just like going back and forth. I said, Mom, I didn't visit them for holidays. I didn't really get to see them. I didn't, what would I say? Yeah, I didn't really want to talk to my mom. It was so, so, so bad. And then one year I said, I'm tired of this. My parents are getting old, so I'm going to lie. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, I quit. And then we were good for a year, right? But I was still doing it. And then somehow she found out again that I was still doing it. And she asked me and confronted me. And then she started mistreating me. And yeah, and then probably about 6 months ago, I said, I cannot take this anymore because it was so unhealthy. It was so like damaging for me. I had a gathering with my parents and my husband's parents, and they were kind of like the intermediators because his parents, they really love people where they're at, and they don't view me different because of my occupation, right? They see me as a human being. Um, my mom, on the other hand, has a harder time because in the Korean culture, you have to live up to perfection. My daughter, she was like, I paid for your Bible school. Expected you to be in ministry, not go into porn, right? So she's so disappointed, and I'm bringing a bad name to the family. So just all these things. So I sat down at the dinner table because I was like, I cannot handle this anymore. And I told my husband, I said, I can't handle the way my mom treats me. And I'm worried it's going to be, I was like, the one year I lied to her, we had the best relationship ever. And I was like, now we're back to square one again. I said, I can't take this. So I told my mom, I said in front of my, in-laws, I said, you either don't talk to me I until I quit the industry, or you choose to love me like your daughter, because I felt like my mom was treating me like I was a sinner, like this horrible sinner, like just you're of the devil kind of person. And I was like, Mom, I never changed. Even when I lied to you, yeah, like I never changed since the time I've been 10 years ago. I'm the same person today. So it's like nothing changed me. I just have a job that pays for my roof over my head. And yeah, so I said, what do you want to do, Mom? I said, if you can't let it go, then we're not going to talk. And when I quit, we'll talk. Then I'll let you know. Or you change your attitude towards me. I said, what do you want to do? And then, there was a lot of crying. My parents thought they were horrible parents. They blamed themselves for, me getting into adult industry. And I was like, no, it's not about that. I just needed
Yeah.
to survive. I was like, I'm not on drugs. I'm not going crazy doing crazy things. I'm just I just have a job. And finally, my mom gave in and she said, yeah. And I didn't think she was going to go through with it. Yeah, because we've talked even in the past, and she says, okay, okay, I'll change, but nothing changed. But that last time, she doesn't approve of it, but she treats me still like her daughter instead of like this sinner that she saw me as. So yeah, it was.
Awesome. I gotta tell you, Christy, you're probably one of the strongest women I think I've met. I mean, just hearing your stories, like all these challenges and really just fights to, be who you are and be accepted, really speaks to me about your strength.
Oh, well, thank you. It's in all that there have been days, many days I've cried. um you just keep getting back up and say, you know, it's another day. I find that um I find what keeps me motivated is learning to figure out what your why is. And if you lose that why in your life, then you lose that strength to keep you going. And my why is how can I bless people other than myself? Um, like I'm here to be there to be my husband's support. I'm there to be for my fans. You know, there have been times where the probably one of the biggest impact stories I've ever had in my entire career was I was a webcam model, and probably this happened about a couple years ago. I received an email, and this guy randomly emailed me, and he said, pretty much like I had a barrel to my head, but I had you in the background. And he said, all of a sudden, I heard you laugh. And he said he started crying. He put down that barrel, and he called rehab. And when he got out a few months, he said he decided to email me and let me know this story that happened. And so those are reasons why I think about all the time. Why am I here? I'm here to see how I can impact and be a blessing, not just to my husband, not just to my family, but to the fans out there. And I realize if I have that why so strong in me, it keeps me strong and it keeps me motivated in the hardest times.
Yeah. You know, um, it's amazing how we affect our fans'
Yes.
lives and we don't even realize it. So yeah, that's a great story. I like that. Um, how has this affected your identity? Like, the most recent with your husband, like not as a wife, but as Christy Love, independent woman standing on her own.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, crazy, tremendous, actually. Because to tell you the truth, my husband's a very strong, big, huge personality. He's a type A personality. He's a go getter. He is a visionary. I mean, so all my life, I've kind of, and I'm very much more submissive, more soft spoken. So I've always been the one to kind of hide behind him. But this has pushed me to really learn to not rely on him. And even, yeah, and even while he's in, he's pushing me to like shine. He's pushing me to like go out and network because my I'm an introvert. I'm a quiet one. That's just naturally my personality. And so not him being here, I've had to learn to step out. And yeah, I've grown a lot. Like so yeah, I definitely have grown.
You're more fierce than you thought you were, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. I definitely
That's
would say.
amazing. That is amazing. So, let's talk about what any big projects you have coming up. It's a brand new year. What are you working on this year? What are you
Yeah,
focusing on, Christy?
absolutely. Oh my gosh, I have so many projects I'm coming out this year. Yeah. So I'm coming out with a memoir. It is a comedic memoir of my life. It's called From Pastor to Porn Star, Holy to Horny. And it gives my entire story about when I started out as a or how I started out as ministry, as you heard a little bit, then went into camming, porn, and stand-up comedy. If you don't know, I'm also a stand-up comedian. Oh yes, yeah. So I give my whole transition of like my whole life and how it all fits together. So that's my book that is about to come out. So you definitely want to check it out. Yes. And if you guys want to sign up, go to christyvip.com. That's like my often page to let you know when I'm coming out with that. I'm also coming out with a podcast, and yes. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm still building up the episodes. I want to come out with a bunch of episodes before I launch it. So hopefully within
Okay.
a couple months it will be launched. And it's going to be all about like crazy stories and like my craziness and the comedy and the chaos and what's happening and all that mixed together. So that's coming out. I'm also in the process of starting a reality TV show. So I'm trying to pitch to, yeah, to all these networks. So fingers crossed. Hopefully that
Saw
comes.
that on Instagram, I think, where you were filming an episode.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm in, I just got finished dealing, or the reel has just got edited, fully edited. So now I'm trying to pitch it to different like networks.
Nice. Oh my gosh, you are busy.
Oh, yeah. So those are some things, and then obviously continuing going out to do stand up comedy, doing different shows. I'm going to be in Hawaii in 2 weeks, and I have shows out there. So yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the comedy, because I tend to get cast in comedic type porn roles, which I love because I think I'm funny as hell. But how did you get into comedy? I mean, wow.
Yeah, so there was this point in my life, probably about 5, 6 years ago. I'm like a person who always analyzes myself, and so this one time I was like, man, I wish I would be a lot further in my life, but I have so much fear. And so one year I decided to write everything I was scared to do, and one of them was stand up comedy. So I started doing stand up comedy, and I took classes. End of the class, we had like a little showcase, and I freaking loved it. Well, I didn't pursue it. And then fast forward, I moved to LA, and my husband's like, take up stand up comedy classes. He's like, you can either do therapy or you can just do comedy. And I said, therapy's too much money right now. So I'm going straight into comedy. And so I say, despite everything I'm going through, I'm laughing my way through every struggle, every trials, every persecution. And yeah, so now I've taken several classes for stand-up comedy. I've gone to Growlings, which is probably one of the biggest improv schools in Hollywood. Um, yeah, I've done it in a little bit less than a year now, and I'm trying to go hard in that area.
That's amazing. Well, it just shows that when you choose to do something, you do it full on. You don't
Yes.
half-ass anything, do you, Christy? Do you have an agent that books you in all these comedy things?
Right now, I don't. My assistant, so I have an assistant, and she's the one who goes out and reaches, um, yeah, comedy clubs and gets me booked. The goal is to get like 2 bookings a week. So yeah.
Amazing. I love that. And yeah, I always wondered how that worked.
Yeah, usually, I mean, you can get an agent. I think you have to be a little bit bigger. I'm still kind of brand new
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
So I just have her reach out to comedy clubs. And luckily she just says, oh, porn star Christy Love. They're like, okay, we'll try her out.
That's right. That's right. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You have a lot to look forward to in 2026.
Thank you. How about yourself? What do you have looking forward to this year?
My goal this year is more studio shoots. I absolutely love that feeling of being on set. And I really threw myself into LA last year. I spent about 40% of my time in LA, and Yeah,
Wow.
I intend to do the same thing this year.
Woo, I love it. Yes.
For asking. You're so sweet.
Yeah.
As we close out, tell people where they can find you, what your campsite is, how can they support you?
Yes, please sign up to my opt-in list. It's absolutely free. That's where you're notified, like with um, just my whole entire life and everything. So it's ChristyVIP.com. Is Christy is spelled CHRISTY. VIP.com. Would love for you guys to opt in. Excited for the new year to come and also for you and everyone else.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad I met you recently and that you shared your story with me. And I was like, I got to have you on. I gotta
Yay!
have
Yeah.
you on. So thank you. I can't wait for your book to come out
Aw,
and read it. And yeah, everybody go find Christy. She is a warrior.
woo! Thank you.